It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from Norton Brewery, and it's a bottle of their flagship IPA. Flagship English IPA, coming in at 5.3% ABV. Why am I so excited by the introduction of this beer? Well, I've been drinking a lot of different beers from Norton Brewery. Recently, I bought their 12 box of beers at their brewery after having a little walk around the brewery, which was wonderful. And the beers have been fantastic. They've been really, really fantastic. Probably one of the, if not the best, kind of like small to medium sized regional breweries in the UK. Their beers are standout, they really are. You might have heard of Norton through a beer called Old Hooky. Used to be on the shelves of Tesco in Wales. Not so much anymore, I don't see it so much anymore. Perhaps it's kind of centred around the Oxford area of Tesco's. Perhaps they still get it in down there, but I haven't seen Old Hooky in Tesco's in Wales for a long time, which is a shame because it's a really good beer. So, an independent family brewer, English IPA, 5.3% ABV, Norton Brewery, India Pale Ale. Condensation on the bottle, lots of condensation on the bottle. The beer's been out the fridge now probably a good 50 minutes. And some of you might be like, whoa, it's been out the fridge for 50 minutes. But I like to drink my beer slightly below room temperature. Cold, but not freezing cold. This beer's about probably 9 to 10 degrees now. There's the bottle cap. What happens, I store my beer cold, but I drink it slightly warmer. By storing it in the fridge, you're keeping it fresh. By drinking it slightly warmer, you're going to get a lot more of those malty flavours that the brewer want you to taste. A lot more of that hoppy flavour that the brewery wants you to taste. So a small one finger white head on the beer then. Good levels of carbonation. Beautiful looking amber, light amber kind of beer there. Yes, looks very good. Let's get the aroma on the beer then. Well, clear, there's no sediment in the bottom of the bottle. Indeed, I don't think Norton, from the bottles that I have been reviewing, I don't think I've had a bottle conditioned beer yet from this brewery. Aroma. Oh yeah, this is kind of like, do you know what this reminds me of? And I hope if anybody's watching at Norton, I hope they take this with the greatest of kind of respects, if you like. This immediately reminded me of Old Empire by Marston's Brewery. I haven't seen Old Empire for a long, long time. But it's got that kind of old English IPA about it, strong IPA, where you're sticking your nose in, you're thinking, there's not really much going on here. There's a bit of biscuity malt. There's a bit of kind of spiciness going on. But it kind of pulls you in, it tricks you. Because you get into it, you taste it, and bang, there's a load of kind of bittering hops in there, which they've added to the boil. Let's get in. Cheers, everybody. Oh, that's really interesting. I'm going to have to take another taste. While I was talking, I realised the head has dissipated quite quickly on this beer. I just want to take another taste just to check something here. I'm just checking for an off flavour. No off flavour. Absolutely no off flavour. So there's that bitterness coming through on the back end. Took 2 tastes for it to come through, but it's definitely there. Perhaps it was my imagination. If you're home brewers and whatnot, if you're brewers, if you're watching from Hook Norton, you'll totally understand what I'm about to say. There's a fine line sometimes. There's a fine line when you taste a beer that you're tasting barley and malt and kind of light biscuity flavours. And then the fine line is like, am I tasting a butteriness, a little bit of a slick kind of butteriness there in the beer? And my first taste, I wasn't 100% sure. You don't want to be tasting a butteriness in your beer, a kind of slick, oily butteriness. You do not want to be tasting that in your beer. It's an off flavour, and it's a flavour that means that there's diacetyl in the beer. Diacetyl can happen from 2 things. It's an infection. Unfortunately, it's an infection in the beer. I just want to reiterate, this beer doesn't have it. It doesn't have it. But I've started talking about it now, so I might as well finish. It can happen either by rushing a beer out of the fermenter, cutting it off early from the fermentation. That will definitely cause diacetyl. If you're don't rush a beer. Let a beer do its thing. And the other thing could be just, maybe a bit of something in the brewery. A bit of stray yeast that's entered the brew or something. A slight problem with the grain. It could be many things. Diacetyl, but we won't concentrate on that anymore because this beer doesn't have it. It's close. It's more of a malty flavour. I would say, if there was any criticism to be laid at this beer in this particular moment, is that it's a little bit flat. There's not much in the way of a great amount of carbonation in there, and the head is dissipated quite quickly. And as a beer reviewer, I've drunk thousands and thousands of beers. I immediately go, what's going on here? When you don't see too much carbonation and the head's dissipating quite quickly. But it's good. It's good. There's enough malt flavour coming through. Enough malt flavour coming through to be able to kind of like take that kind of, maybe the lessening of carbonation. Maybe it needs a little bit more carbonation. But on the other side, there's a lovely biting bitterness on the back end. You still get that kind of, they call it flagship IPA. You still get that kind of bitter finish on the back end. What I will do though, I will check the date. And it's well in date. It's October 2024 right now. And this beer doesn't go, it's best before May 2025. So it's got like 9-10 months. 9 or 10 months of a shelf life on it. It's fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. So why flagship IPA? Why the ships? Originally brewed to celebrate the 200th anniversary of the Battle of Trafalgar, a proper India Pale Ale with a fruity mouthfeel, sweet aroma, and a powerful Admiral hop punch. There we go. Hook Norton, Oxfordshire, UK. IPA, India Pale Ale, very quickly I thought it was something else. I thought it was sailing boats going to India. The brewers used to take beer or brew beer stronger to be able to last the journey to get from the UK, generally kind of Burton-on-Trent area. They would leave the UK with beer as ballast in their boats to keep the boat, keep that weight at the bottom of the boat ballasted. They would take beer over to India on their kind of like crusades and whatever. They were building railways and generally being a bit naughty. They would take their own beer with them, and they brew it stronger to last the journey on the boat to India, and of course the temperatures, I suppose, in India too. Yeah, that's a very, very, very brief history on IPA. There's a lot you can read on it if you want to. Rating for this beer, probably not the greatest from Hook Norton. I have had better beers from them. Just a bit lacking in carbonation, a little bit lacking in the head retention, a little bit lacking in hop biting bitter finish, to be honest. And it's more bready and malty. It's more biscuity and bready and barley like than kind of like bitter IPA. They need more hops probably in the boil, I'd say, for this one. So for this one, slightly disappointed. I'd say 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.